We want to remind our viewers that before that report was released, CBS Evening News anchor and managing editor Norah O'Donnell spoke exclusively with Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy. And the interview follows a year-and-a-half-long investigation into sexual assault in the military, including interviews with nearly 24 survivors and their families. Victims told us their allegations were ignored and retaliation was rampant. We asked McCarthy about the problem and where the Army goes from here.
Is there a sexual harassment and sexual assault problem in the U.S. Army?
Currently, the trend is going the wrong way, and we're going to take some pretty dramatic steps in order to reverse this trend.
Do you think it's clear that sexual harassment and sexual assault, that there's zero tolerance for it in the U.S. Army and the U.S. military?
There is zero tolerance, but at times it does persist.
The soldiers that we spoke with served at numerous Army installations all across the country. They expressed a real concern about whether the Army can police itself. Can that be done?
I believe it can, yes.
You do think the Army can police itself?
This institution, when it has its focus, its energy against anything, I believe there's nothing we can't do.
The command hasn't been able to do it in the past.
These individuals have not been able to.
And they will be held accountable.
Correct.
And are there any additional structures that you put in place to make sure that commanders are held accountable in the future?
Yes, this is the message that we're sending to every echelon below me, which is all of them, that this is unacceptable.
As for the timing of all this change, Secretary McCarthy told Norah he wanted to take action before January, when President-elect Joe Biden is likely to appoint a replacement, because, as McCarthy put it, he does not want to pass this issue to his successor. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is very interesting. I mean, those numbers that Norah put up from the report of the number of women who said they were assaulted, it's just staggering.
But I can't say enough about Norah's reporting and the investigative team and the producers who worked with her. They've been working on it for over a year and a half. And kudos to Secretary McCarthy, because he knew he was walking into a buzzsaw. I'm not calling Norah a buzzsaw. What I'm saying there is that she and her team have felt very passionate about it. He knew the questions were not going to be easy. He knew he had some very difficult questions to answer, and he still sat down. And he seemed, to me, personally aggrieved by it. He talked about having a daughter himself. But I still go back to Vanessa Guillen and her family. If the family hadn't spoken up the way that they did, they refused to just let this go.
He was a leader here. He didn't run and hide when the reporting came out. He sat in the chair and he said, we're going to make changes. And the fact that he wants to do it before January so it can be him and not the next person is big.
And they are sweeping changes.